We'll talk about grilling. Grilling is a dry heat technique. It is usually confused with barbecue. When we say let's barbecue, many people think it's grilling. Barbecue is a slow and low process that sometimes involves a kind of sauce. Grilling is on a grill. There are three elements we can use when grilling: gas, wood, and charcoal. If we use gas, we have the advantage of measuring temperature and controlling it, but no flavor. If we use charcoal, we can reach very high temperatures and some flavor. When using wood, we can use any kind of tree that has not been treated, that grew some kind of a nut or a fruit, and that will give us some special flavor. Depending on the flavor we're looking for, is the wood we can use. Now let's talk about the meat. It should not be cold at all. It should be at room temperature. Grilling cold meat will lead us to the fact that we would cool down our grill. We don't want that. One of the first steps before putting this on a grill involves adding a little bit of oil. Why do we need to add some kind of oil? This is to avoid the meat sticking to the grill. So I will just add some oil. Once our meat is at room temperature, which shouldn't take more than 40 minutes, an hour at most, especially if we marinated it overnight or some hours before. Please remove it from the refrigerator and leave it at room temperature. Now, the question that people always ask me is, when do we salt and pepper our meat when grilling? Well, the answer is very simple. We have to salt and pepper before we grill, and we salt and pepper after we grill. Why do we do this? Well, the answer is that sometimes the salt and pepper that we're going to be adding stays on the grill bars. Hence, we lose some of it. So we just need to add a little bit at the end. Don't be afraid of the amount of salt and pepper you use when grilling. Just be careful, but don't be afraid. What kind of salt can we use? Any kind of salt, as long as you know how salty it is. Could be black salt, pink salt, red salt, kosher salt, any salt. Just be aware of how salty it is so you can measure the amount, and preferably add it with your hands, because using a mill will not allow you to measure the amounts of salt or pepper that you're using. Mills are perfect for the table, not for the kitchen. Let's go to the grill. When you light your fire, you are not to use external or lighted fluid. It's important to generate 3 different sections on your fire. One with very high heat, another with medium or low heat. The reason for this is that in the high heat you're going to sear the meat. In the medium or low heat, you will just finish the cooking at the doneness desired. If you want to have this beautiful diamond mark, you have to place your meat at 11 o'clock and then you'll turn it to 1 o'clock. We have to remember that it cannot be turned over and over and over. You just mark at 11, at 1, and then you turn the meat. We can season with salt and pepper the other side, a little bit of oil. When grilling, don't really recommend very fatty meat because they will generally drip on the fire and will generate not only smoke but some kind of bitterness. When turning the meat to 1 o'clock, it has to be removed easily. You are not to fight against it. How do we know the doneness of our meat? Very simple, with a thermometer. This will enable us to measure the internal temperature of our steak. What we have to do is to put the thermometer inside in the middle, halfway through. If we stick it from the front, we are more likely to measure the temperature of the grill and not that of our meat. This is grilling.